I know we got some questions here. All right, so I'm gonna kick over a couple to you. Some of them in the movie, some of them a little bit outside the movie. Just to see what your thoughts are. Okay, so here's my first one. Do movies like this, and we talked about this, movies that are like, showing like the end or showing like society breakdown. Do you think movies like this make these outcomes more likely or less likely to happen?
Um, I'm going to say they're just equally the same. I think they're
Okay,
already there. It's a source of inspiration. These things were bubbling, and I think people are telling on themselves.
got it. Okay, all right. Who do you think is funding or arming the Western forces? And remember, in the movie, that's like California and
Yeah,
Texas are
that's
working
correct.
together, which would never happen, by the way. But like,
Of
who do you
course not.
think was funding them? Who do you think was funding them, giving them weapons and armament to attack the federal
The
government?
same people we criticize and try to ostracize now. Silicon Valley, entertainers, that's
Mm,
California. And then you still have your successful or financially successful people in Texas who have like all of the utilities and the power and the gas, the
mm,
oil, and don't get it twisted. They tell you in Dallas, go big or go home. So
mm.
cattle, you know,
She's saying Jerry Jones was funding
oh
that
no
joint.
question. He got his own little militia private army in this joint.
There it
Yeah.
is. Okay, that's a good one. All right. So my next question is, okay, in this movie, this is actually my last question. So in this movie, we talked about how it ends, president gets
Mhm.
killed, and it kind of the movie ends there. 3 months after this movie's over, what do you think the state of America is?
Still at war, easily. Still at war. Because
Really?
you have these
And why do
different
you, why do you say?
allegiances. Remember, you had Florida, and Florida had like them, South Carolina, Georgia, and a couple other spots. You know what I mean, Louisiana
Yeah,
and such. I mean, from
yeah,
Maine to DC, so that's all. That's almost all of the original 13 colonies right there. Minus
yep,
obviously South Carolina and such. And they went as far as to Nevada. I mean, so
that's right.
you didn't hear anything about Hawaii and Alaska. They're like, who cares? And the territories, Puerto Rico and such, they're like, yeah, whatever. But then you had the places like where Lee and Jesse were from, Colorado and Missouri, respectively. That's a whole nother allegiance altogether. And we touched upon Florida and excuse me, Texas and California. So that's four
Yeah,
different regiments, if you will, if you want to make it more simplistic. Just because the president's gone, that leads to my question. That doesn't mean that the federal government, the United States as a whole, is like, yeah, we're going to surrender and let these
yeah,
other people rot.
yeah. Good point. So yeah, so it continues with war because there's no
No
clear
clear,
who's running, who's in
yeah,
charge.
no clear